Hi, I'm Tim Andrews. Welcome to Courageous Hearts Podcast. No,
Hi, I'm Jackie DeVito. Welcome to Courageous Hearts Podcast.
we don't have to redo that, right? No.
No.
Okay. So today, what was on your mind to want to talk about,
Can you
Jackie?
can you try to read it?
I think it's really about the masculine and vulnerability.
Damn, you're good. Let's do this.
Yeah, so I could talk a little. I could obviously move into this. So many of us, from a masculine standpoint, which I struggled with for a long time. I had more of a feminine way of being than a masculine way of being. I was raised by women, all women, aunts, grandma. My dad was there occasionally, but he worked, until he left. But so really it was just brought up by my mom, and I'm an only child. And so I came into, and I've shared this before on a podcast, I would be doing these workshops, and we would be doing all this work, and then all of a sudden, they would be like, play a song, and then I would be like, play this song, and it would be some sappy song that was all emotionally driven and all.
Was it
And
like I would walk
no, no,
500
no, no,
miles?
no,
No.
no. It was like, you are beautiful and loving and kind. Yeah.
And I
Don't
like you
ever
so
lose
much.
yourself. Some.
Sunshines and
I
rainbows.
love you so much. It was something like that. And I remember, our mentor, our trainer, Rita would say, she was like, why did you play that song? I was like, I don't know. It's a good song. And she goes, yeah, at the wrong time. She goes, it's all feminine driven. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, oh, Tim, she would always redirect me on this. She's like, that's because you were raised by women and you had more of you're more emotionally driven than you're able to stand in that masculine.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because I lead from that masculine energy, but I work with so many women and couples that the woman is leading with the masculine and the male is just caught in the feminine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's good to have a little bit of both, but where the woman is like overtly leading, masculine, overgiving, rescuing, doing all the things, ends up depleted, ends up resentful. And then the male is like a deer in headlights, like not understanding why anybody's upset with him. He really not understanding where he's going wrong.
And where it all comes from, the answer to your question is yes, because you lead from the masculine a lot, that you don't have the opportunity to roll into the feminine. So you
I'm
don't
working
allow
on it.
yourself. You're doing much better. What's contingent upon partnership.
Yes.
It's a direct correlation. It comes out of your childhood. If you don't have, it happens all different kinds of ways. But if a female doesn't have a male in her life, then to protect her, then she's going to have to trump up her masculine.
Sure.
And if a male enmeshes with his mom and the mom's the masculine, then he's going to titrate down into his feminine.
Yep.
And it happens all different kinds of ways. That is an example of it. That's what happened to me, and that's the same thing that happened to you. There wasn't a male in your life to show you what it looked like. Therefore, you heightened up into your masculine because the only example you had was your mom, and she was like a brutal masculine female.
And unsafe.
And unsafe, and operated out of fear constantly. On some levels, I was castrated. On some levels, I was, because of becoming my mom's husband, doesn't leave. And she was the masculine. It's like I became my mom's wife. And therefore, that masculine didn't have an opportunity to develop.
Yeah. So I was watching something on this the other day. I know we talked about it, but men they kind of get a raw deal when the father is absent or emotionally absent, and they're not learning what it looks like to be a man, really, because boys learn from their dad. And then the mom, either from a place of overwhelm or from a place of codependency, is over mothering, that this, now this person hasn't developed a sense of, oh, something needs to get done, so let me do it, because it's either being done for him or he's getting bossed around.
Mm-hmm.
So then he enters, the male enters from this space into these relationships and is operating the same way they've always operated. And now the wife moves into this mothering role and is resentful, exhausted, sex intimacy gets affected, and the guy's sitting there like, I'm not understanding what I'm doing wrong, because this has always been the case for them. So then they have no idea what true masculinity looks like. So what I see is that it vacillates from like, oh, the little boy that needs to be taken care of, or this like ultra macho toxic masculinity, because they don't really know what it looks like to partner with the female energy.
I was talking to a guy today in session, and he had punched. It was my first time with him, and he's talking to me, and he's looking at me, and I noticed that he's got a cast on his right hand, and I was like, "Oh, what happened?" And he's like, "I punched the wall in a fight with my fiance." He's like, "That's why I'm here." And I said, "Oh." I said, "Did you think about asking or talking about how you felt before you punched the wall?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "No, it was all I could do was to punch the wall." And I said, "Oh, your fiance moved into the masculine, and you didn't have the opportunity, you didn't know a way in which to move down into the feminine and ask for what you needed. So the way that you trumped her moving into the masculine and being like ding 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 ding, you had to hit the wall." And he goes, "How do you know that?" And I said, "Because you, first of all, you hit the wall with your right hand, and right hand is male dominant. Even if you're right-handed, right side is male, left side is female. That's what we've always been taught. It always seems to come true, whether it's actually empirically based or not. It's over and over again in which it comes true." And then I said, it was powerlessness that makes you try to create power. So you were trying to trump somebody's masculinity. And he's like, "Yeah, she has a high masculine." I said, "Yeah, that's obvious." And I said, so he's like, "I couldn't," because a lot of masculine men assume to be masculine is to be strong, and shut down emotionally and not be able to ask for what you need, when in truth, and this came from a book that I read that is, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was all about masculinity and femininity. But it said the true masculine is a male that can have courage and compassion at the same time. And that would start with self. Like, to be able to have courage and compassion. He was an example, a here and now example, a today example of two people caught in a power struggle, which is childlike, where the female jumped up into masculine, and then he trumped that by punching. He broke his hand. Had to get an operation.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but had to get an operation.
Isn't it interesting how society, life, I don't know, takes away the two superpowers or the superpowers of the divine feminine and the superior masculine man. So for the divine feminine, it's discernment. And in order to have discernment, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
And women are taught not to trust themselves.
Right. They're
taught to be small and take orders and, not go inside, but look for validation outside. And our superpower is discernment. And for men, it's that combination of compassion and courage, you're not taught to be compassionate and sensitive. You're taught to put that away.
Mm-hmm. You're not taught to be emotional.
Mm-mm.
You're taught to, as you say, put that away. And so then,
Mm-hmm.
because courage and compassion would lead to empathy,
Mm-hmm.
which is a superpower.
Really, it is how great leaders lead
That's right.
through emotion.
That's right.
How you get people to change is through emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So a great leader connects through emotion,
Mm-hmm.
not through force, not through fear. Well, I guess fear is an emotion, but different emotions. But yeah, it's super interesting. But I was thinking about you and how well you do this. That's why when we were together that day, I was like, we need to do a podcast on this, because you create so much safety, which I think is one of the main jobs of the masculine, is to create
Mm-hmm.
safety. And you do it in a way that is through feeling, through connection, through empathy. So how did you get there?
I think I was born there, as I believe many of us are, even
Mm-hmm.
as males. And the practice of going to my emotions and feeling, I know I'm empathetic. I know I have the ability to feel everybody's feelings. I know I'm very empathic, and I embraced that.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes courage to be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
The work that I've had the opportunity to do is to be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am an empathetic, courageous, connected, loving
Mm-hmm.
person, and I embrace that.
Yeah, but then there's this other side of you where you're decisive and you're straightforward, and like you really balance both sides, so that you're not, I know that the more feminine qualities, or what tend to be called feminine, around empathy and feeling, come more natural to you. But then there's this other side of you where you're very much that
I know.
masculine. Like you balance it really well.
I had to learn that, and with all the work that I've got to do to be able to be comfortable in both, and to also know that the masculine offers so much as far as choosing, directness, follow through. I'm not saying that the feminine doesn't. It's just something that the masculine offers. And when I practice that a lot, I practice it, and there's a lot of people that hold me accountable to it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm honest about that's what I'm working on, and
Mm-hmm.
and follow through is
Mm-hmm.
about that. Choosing, keeping your word, keeping my word, which is a consistency that I'm working on, and having the courage. I mean, a lot of the things that we've done practicing lately, reconnecting with Rita, takes courage.
Mm-hmm.
Doing some of the, the other types of work that we have done, inviting people to do work and not being concerned about what the natural order of what people claim things should look like should be.
Mm-hmm.
I get to lead the charge in taking the initiative to do something different, and then you encourage that, because as a partner, you just create so much safety for me to expand in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a and that because it's truly come into fruition. I mean, it's been there. I see it. Like, Rita taught me a lot of this stuff. She has, but I've messed up some stuff, man. that that if I was just on the table, direct and honest about, I wouldn't have messed up. Because
Yeah.
we also get, part of that is like choosing what you want and following through with what you want,
Yeah.
and not choosing what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been so many times that I've got confused in that and chosen what I haven't wanted, and the cost was high.
Mm.
And I know that, as as a as a masculine man, that me choosing what I want, anyone for that matter. Me, though, for me and my person is so essential for me to keep developing both traits.
Yeah.
That both the ability to kind of lean in and kind of lean out. I got that. That's a work of art.
Yeah. I think, like you said, I think courage is the word. And that's why we named our company Courageous
I
Hearts,
know.
because really when we work with couples, we see it all the time where people are coming in and it's this constant like pointing fingers of because this person does this and this person does that. And I had this couple the other day and I just said to them, what are you doing that's getting in the way of you having the relationship of your dreams? I mean, that's really the only thing we can ask ourselves because it's the only thing that we have power over.
And that's a question that could lead people to freedom in your life. And we get both. We're both made up of masculine and feminine. And when I've practiced, it gives me just a space because I can work with some really heavy masculines and feminines and be able to be a part of their lives in a way through vulnerability, quite frankly.
Sure.
Directness, vulnerability, practice is a big space in all of that. And which just helps. That's what keeps. To answer the longest answer to the question that you had, it's really boils down to character, integrity, practice, follow through, honesty, not settling. That's what, at the end of the day, those are the ingredients for a balanced me that has both.
I love that. So what are our top three takeaways?
For me, you get to have both masculine and feminine. I can lead, which helps create more power and freedom. And recognize that your childhood influences where you're standing and where you're coming from in this, why you've chosen the side you've chosen. And that it's not true. I mean, masculine is about courage and compassion.
Yeah, for me, I think what resonates is get curious and challenge some of the beliefs. Because I think a lot of the things that first of all, nobody teaches us anything. We learn by watching. Nobody's sitting down and saying, hey, this is how you do a relationship and this is what the recipe is for a fulfilling, successful, integral life. I think we learn by watching. And some of that stuff is generational and valuable, and some of that stuff is generational and not valuable. And I think we get to use our discernment to see what we're going to take forward in our life and what are we going to leave behind.
Yeah. Good job.
Good job to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching Courageous Heart Podcast. If you want to know more information about us, you can go to courageousheartscoaching.com. And in there, you'll see our book, Courageous Connections, and another book that we're working on, and our services, and
our cool office.
And I mean, a lot has occurred in this last year and a half or so. So thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.